Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Watcher. Alright, cast and crew down at the bottom, and let's start off with the IMDb plot. A young American woman moves with her husband to Bucharest and begins to suspect that a stranger who watches her from the apartment across the street may be a local serial killer decapitating women. Alright. So this one is on Shudder now, and I believe it was released a little bit before that, maybe in theaters or so forth. Um, Kind of a little bit more of a thriller, and it says here drama, horror, thriller. I would say for the most part it is thriller, not too much into the horror. There is a little bit there, obviously the mentioning of serial killer and decapitating women makes it seem like it's horror, but it doesn't dive too much into that. That's more of kind of like a background thing going on here. Going right into the story of it here is this, like you said, at the in the plot there we have Julia here, and she just moved in. To a new area where she doesn't really speak the language too much, not too familiar with, but she's there to support her husband and his job there and so forth. So you see a lot of her alone. It's kind of one of those movies, and we've kind of seen this setup before. A couple moves somewhere, and one of them is not too familiar with the area, may not speak the language, and that's kind of what you have here. And that person, gets most of the camera time and so forth. Her husband's doing his thing, and she's alone, and she's trying to figure things out and what she wants to do, and kind of venturing around a little bit. You see her starting to learn a little bit of the language and kind of try to blend in as best she can. And in the process, she's noticing some guy in this apartment building across the street who you don't really get a clear view of. You kind of more see his shadow there in the window, and it seems like he's looking at her. He's there a lot when she goes to the window to look out, and at first she's like whatever, but then she gets that feeling that he's looking just at her. There's a really good scene where she just kind of not really sure. She kind of wants to test out whether he's doing it or not. And she kind of lifts her hand to kind of signal maybe she's saying hello without maybe being too directly saying hello. And that was an interesting scene. I won't go into too much of it. It's still a fairly new movie, so I keep this as spoiler free as possible. So she kind of gets wrapped up into this whole is this man watching me thing, and then she finds herself going into a supermarket, and she thinks that this is she's being followed by the guy, and she kind of thinks it's him, and does this whole run around the supermarket. Is pretty sure that he's keeping an eye on her, and that's when she kind of gets her husband involved, but he's kind of takes the angle of more that she's over exaggerating, she's delusional, he's not really following her and so forth. So he kind of takes that angle from that point on, never really takes her seriously, which gonna cause some trouble between the two of them as this movie goes on. And she becomes just more and more paranoid. She's going to meet a couple other people. Some going to be a little bit more involved with what's going on in the movie than others, and she's also going to find out some interesting areas. I guess let's just call it that, of town. She's going to find herself in at least one place, kind of interesting or different, or somewhere you wouldn't have expected her, and she probably wouldn't have expected to end up in. And that's going to play a little bit of a role in also what's going on here. And but it's just this was, like I said, it's a thriller, so it's just a lot of build to the final moment here. And it's just a lot of back and forth. Is she being followed? Is she being watched? You're going to be introduced to someone, a couple of people, but one in particular. Is that the person that's watching her? Is it not? If she is being watched, why? And just, they kind of sprinkle in those kind of questions and mysteries around. They're just gonna kind of drag it on, give you little pieces here and there and whatever. So the movie's okay. Like I said, there is some reference to a serial killer that kind of might keep you interested and so forth. And as this movie was kind of going on, I'm like, yeah, okay, we're just kind of going through the motions here. Just kind of watching her and kind of maybe sort of piecing some clues together, but then others not so much. And just, a lot of time just going on here. And then finally, I'm not going to spoil it, but I thought the ending was really good. This is just one of those movies where you watch, not too much news going on, not too much difference going on. You're just kind of picking up the clues and just wondering where this is all going to go, what's going to eventually happen to her. I thought, it stayed pretty realistic for the most part, and I really liked the end of the movie. I really liked it. Maybe everything getting there. Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a slow burn. It didn't feel like that, but it just kind of just takes its time, just kind of goes through the things, and there's that back and forth. Like I said, is it this person, is it that person, and why, and what's going on here, and so forth. And then they have that serial killer kind of thing going on in the background. How much is that part of the story or not? So they kind of sprinkle all these things in and whatever. And I just thought the payoff was really good. I thought the ending was a really good scene. The final act was a really good scene. It finally gave you something it built to, and it finished strong. So while it seemed like a lot of bit of just a regular movie to stand to as you were going through it all, I thought the payoff was really good, and that's probably mostly why I'm doing this review and mentioning this movie, because again, it was not huge on the horror element. It was a little bit sprinkled in, but not hugely. It's just all about this ending, and since I'm trying to make this spoiler free, I'm not gonna tell you guys what happened and go through it too much. I'm just gonna say that if you are turning this on and you're kind of watching it and you're kind of like, oh, where's this going, blah blah, kind of wait. I think the ending was good, and I think you should wait it out and give that let the ending happen and then see what your final thoughts are on the movie, because I thought it was good. It fit, all the pieces kind of wrapped up, and kind of give you that little bit of action, more of that action that you're looking for, maybe a little bit more of the horror that you're looking for. Like I said, it's not a huge horror movie per se, but it kind of gives you probably everything that you wanted throughout the entire movie. It finally gives it to you in the end, kind of wraps things up in a nice, exciting way. So yeah, this is just going to be another one that you're just going to have to sit through to really get to the meat of it. And the acting is good, and the story is not boring or anything like that. I think you'll be entertained. It's just not a whole lot different, not a whole lot of action and a lot of things going on. Just kind of mystery, a little bit of creepiness. Obviously, every time she kind of looks up at that apartment, that is a little creepy, and you just kind of see that shadow figure there. And and of course, there's, like I said, there's some little bit of couple drama there between the husband and wife, but it is, again, we've seen this before. That's kind of set up. So in that respect, it'll all seem familiar. But again, to me, the really good part of this movie was how it wrapped up, and then that final scene. Because I'll be honest, I'd probably say if it wasn't for that final scene, I probably would have just passed on reviewing this and just kind of let it slide. But I think, because of the way that the film wrapped up and everything that was put together before it, just, it kind of comes together nicely, and I don't know. It's just one of those scenes where I was like, oh, okay, finally this kind of came to a nice spot here, and that's basically why I'm mentioning it, and gonna give it, I think, three pools of blood. Maybe the ending deserved maybe a little bit more than that, but because not a whole lot going on before that, or just a lot of excitement going on before that, that kind of makes most of the movie a 2.2 or 2.5 pool of blood, and then we kind of up it up to a 3 there at the end. So yeah, that's 3 pools of blood out of 5, of course. And again, this one I believe is still on Shudder, new to Shudder, or recently new to Shudder. And yeah, and with that, Horror Story Reviews, .blogspot.com. It's where you can find more of my reviews. Written reviews, video reviews are there. Obviously, you're here on the channel. If you're here on the channel checking it out, you can subscribe if you just want the video reviews. But if you're looking for some written ones, the link is down below, along with Twitter, Facebook information. If you want to reach out, talk about this movie, other movies. Comment section, feel free to comment on the video, comment on the movie. If you like the ending, you did not like the ending, did not like the movie at all, whatever you want to put down there as well, feel free to. And with that, I guess I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.